Stop making the logical choice. That's why your life is so boring. It's time to inject some vibes into your life. Let's go. Listen, I'm not about to tell you to make stupid decisions. There are obviously things you shouldn't do. But I'm just saying you should start letting your emotions take more control in your day-to-day life. We are inherently emotional beings, but the world punishes us for that. Going through life in a straight line is rewarded. And sure, this works for some people, getting an office job, plugging away at it for 40 years, getting a partner and 2 kids. And it works for some people, but it does not work for me. And if you're watching this video, it probably doesn't work for you either. Trying to hold your life to such a perfect standard is torture. You're gonna crash out sometimes. You're gonna spend weeks at a time thinking, oh, I'm doing great, I'm making so much progress. Then one day you're gonna do something, you're gonna make like a stupid decision, and suddenly it feels like all your progress is ruined. And that's just life. Life is not linear, okay? And Karl Marx has a quote. The quote goes, "The less you eat, drink, buy books, go to the theatre, or to balls, or to the pub, and the less you think, love, theorize, sing, paint, fence, etc., the more you will be able to save, and the greater will become your treasure, which neither moth nor rust will corrupt, your capital. The less you are, the less you express your life, the more you have, the greater is your alienated life, and the greater is the saving of your alienated being." And that's it for a moment. Now, is it the logical thing to save as much money as possible so you can live without problems, you can plan for anything that goes wrong? Sure, that's logical and it's safe. But if you're saving money at the expense of enjoying your life, literally what is the point? What is the point of living like that? Like, genuinely, if you have the choice, what is the point of living this way? The number in your bank balance means nothing if you're not hanging out with friends, if you're not treating yourself to a sweet treat, if you're not just doing things that genuinely nurture your soul. And when you're 90 years old, looking back at your life, you're not going to remember how much money you saved. You're going to remember your friends, the memories that you made, because that's what's important. That's what we care about. And trying to live within this constraint of, I have to save this amount of money so that in 10 years I will still be okay. Sure, do a bit of that, save a bit of money, but don't live your life in this way where you're constantly planning for the future, because you're not ever gonna be living right now. If you're constantly thinking what's next, then what are you doing right now? You're just constantly in this cycle of, in 5 years I'll be okay and I'll have money. How do you know? You can't tell the future. Imagine tomorrow you find $1 million on the floor. You didn't predict that today. And now all of this frugal living that you've been doing at the expense of enjoying your life, mate, it was for nothing. Because now you're rich. The last 10 years that you spent saving all this money is tiny in comparison to what you just found on the floor. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So why are you trying to plan for it? And there was a phrase online a few years ago that was super popular that I always think back to, and it's, the money will return, but the memories, the time that you were actually young, will not. So live for right now and stop holding yourself back, because life is to be lived. That's it. That's everything. It's not everything though, because I'm still going to talk. Stay here, please. Thank you. And next time you do anything, make sure you ask yourself, does this actually make me feel good? And of course, we all have our responsibilities. We all have things that we don't want to do sometimes. But I think it's so easy to just do things purely out of habit, whether it's organizing to meet up with someone or just having your morning coffee, instead of actually thinking, do I want this right now? Do I want to do this? Do I want to see this person? Or do I just feel obliged because I call them my friend, so I have to have this certain amount of time that I dedicate my life to them? And yeah, of course, if you want to do that, go for it. But if you find that you're meeting these people, if you're hanging out with these people just because you feel like you have to, you feel like you owe it to them, and you don't actually enjoy their company, stop. Stop that. Do you realize how crazy this is? There are so many things that we do, especially for other people, that we feel like we should do. We feel like these things will get us further along in life. And maybe if you do this thing for this one person, then they'll help you further along down the line or something like that. But if it doesn't make you feel good, if you don't enjoy what you're doing for this person or what you're doing in general, then Why should you do it? And of course, you should be doing nice things for people. I'm not saying that's a normal and nice thing to do. But if you're doing a nice thing for someone, expecting a thank you or expecting that they'll return the favor down the line, you're not doing it for the right reasons, okay? Do nice things for people because you genuinely want to. And I shouldn't have to say this, but I see it all the time, where there's just an ulterior motive. Like, why can't we just do things because we want to make that person happy? We want to do something selfless for a person that we love or that we enjoy the company of. Why do we have to have all these strings? Cut the strings, man. Cut the strings. Trying to deny ourselves pleasure in favor of making the right choice is soul-crushing and pointless. Is it the logical choice to not buy this cinnamon bun for $4 because I have food in my fridge and the cinnamon bun is not healthy? Yeah, it's not the logical choice. If I was a robot, I probably wouldn't buy that cinnamon bun. But is it gonna make me feel good in the moment? Is it gonna taste amazing and make me happy for the rest of the day? Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, when I want something, when I want to eat, for example, a cinnamon bun, and I'm denying myself this joy, I'm thinking about it all day and I'm just aching to go out and get that cinnamon bun, to the point where it would just be easier and honestly less detrimental to my wallet, to my health, to just go and get the cinnamon bun instead of putting myself through this struggle, through this torture for no reason. Like, it's constantly on my mind all day, to the point where I can't dedicate myself completely to the thing that I'm doing right now. Like, it's in the back of my mind and it's just, go and get the cinnamon bun, go and do it. And now that I'm saying it out loud, it kind of sounds like I have an addiction. I might. I'll hold my hands up and say, I might have an addiction to cinnamon buns. Are you gonna arrest me for it? Is that not allowed? Is that not okay? Thought not. I'm gonna keep buying my cinnamon buns. And God knows how much money I've spent on pastries in my life. Money that, sure, I could use right now. I would love a bit of money. But if I hadn't bought those pastries throughout my life, I would be miserable. I would be miserable right now. I want to be able to live my life and not be chained up by the idea of making the right choice. Because most often, the right choice is just what you want to do in this moment. And sacrificing that joy in favor of a future that might not even exist is pointless. So go get that cinnamon bun, okay? And a few months ago, I watched a film called A Memoir of a Snail. And I'm gonna hit you with another quote, because in the movie, there was a quote that I constantly think about. And it goes, life only makes sense backwards, but it must be lived forwards. And I'm now realizing that it was actually a philosopher called Soren Kierkegaard that said this, but I know nothing about philosophy, so I'm just gonna say that the quote was actually just from a movie where the main character hoards snails to cope with grief. What are you gonna do? You can't stop me, so I'm gonna keep telling lies. But I mentioned this quote because living life forward means to stop putting so much emphasis on what might happen in the distant future. And I mean, if you take the quote literally, you can only see what's immediately in front of you when you look forwards. I'm sure you know that. I'm sure you have seen things before. You know, we can plan for the coming days and the coming weeks. We can plan what may happen. We can see that. But to plan any further than that is just an estimation. So my point is, go make that wrong decision. Eat that thing that will harm your fitness goals, and maybe you'll be worse off in the future for it. But will it bring you joy in this moment? Yeah. And when you look back on it, you might realize, you might see that it was a bad decision to do that. But in the moment, that was what you wanted to do. It's okay to give in to desire sometimes. You're not an emotionless robot. I'm constantly trying to tell people, everyone is just a bit stupid. And I say that with love because I'm stupid as well. But I think the more we try and repress this stupidity, this natural stupidity that everyone has, the sadder we're gonna get. Like, why are we trying to project this image of perfection to people that don't even care? And people that are also stupid? What if we all just embraced our stupidity? Every single person in this world stood back and said, I'm kind of dumb. Like, I do dumb things a lot. I think the world would be so much better. The world would be a better place if everyone just realized how stupid they are. Then we could all hold hands, stand in a circle, and sing Kumbaya. Everything would be great, okay? And that's all I have to say. Be stupid. Be dumb. Embrace it. You're not a robot. Words of the day. Thank you for watching. See you next week.